How are you today, Nat? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Surfing this fucking wave of media stuff and channel shit and brains shit and lots of stuff going on.
I'm so happy that I could talk to you because I mean we met before. We went and had a lunch together at a cafe in Surrey Hills, and I'm just so happy to get you on this show because I really believe in what you're doing, and I really, for me, as someone who's from the olden dinosaur media. And looking to new business models, when I look at you, I'm like, there's a guy who's I'm just going to be who I am as fully as possible and see what happens. And it's not like you did, and it's not like you did anything different. Just one day, who you were as fully as possible became the thing that everybody wanted to see.
I suppose so. Yeah, suppose so. It's just, I'm glad something's worked there. I'm glad something's worked there, or at least, the person I've grown into is a bit more palatable, for more people. That's great. It's been pretty fucking wild.
It's been, God, when probably the last 18 months or so?
That's definitely been the high octane thriller part of the movie. That's definitely... Yeah, I've been pushing at this shit for fucking ages. Like, obviously, someone creating things and putting them out there and trying to have a laugh and trying to make people laugh at, fucking speedboats and camper vans and all sorts of shit I used to make videos about. And I still want to do that, by the way. But, until this lockdown hit, I think I just hit a nerve and, I'm lucky. Very, very lucky.
Well, you didn't come to it by accident. It's a culmination of the right amount of skills and the right amount of ability. And, if people, and it's always like when anyone comes out of seemingly nowhere, I know, but a lot of people don't realize. They're like, no, that's someone who's just poked the amount of energy that it's taken to get into your eyeballs, the momentum that's taken to get there has been going on for a decade. I remember seeing videos of you being shared. I remember I told you at lunch, I saw a video of you being shared in a group chat. God, when I was living in America. Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, long time ago.
Yeah, that's cool. I've had a little following going on for quite a few years beforehand, but it definitely... it hits these plateaus, people are like, oh, he's, taking the piss out of another trade show, you still keep that gang there. You have to kind of diversify a bit and do some more shit. It becomes a bit samey. And so we moved to the States, funnily enough, and started going to shit like Roswell and making some real banana stuff, trying to shake it up a bit and trying to find some more audience. And then I came home for a sec and I got fucking stuck inside and I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. I'll be cooking non-stop anyway. May as well hang shit on this fucking disgusting jarred garbage that everyone keeps buying at the shops seemingly. So fuck it. We'll just pivot. People love a good pivot during lockdown. So I fucking chucked a big pivo.
Can we talk a little bit about... you're in Sydney right now. Did you grow up here?
Yeah, I did. I grew up out northwestern Sydney.
Yeah. I grew up in Brisbane, so I don't really know what northwestern Sydney looks like. What is it?
Like suburbia,
Yeah.
Like fucking, like the kind of... I grew up in the church and like, going to the mall. That's kind of... I mean, for the first kind of... 14-ish years around there, and then I moved in with my dad.
So there was a short-haired, non-sweary version of you?
Yeah, there's definitely been a short-haired, non-sweary version. I don't know. I'll just swear somewhere else and then get flogged for it.
There was church involved in my upbringing only because that was all that that seemed to come along with the quality of education that my parents were looking for.
Right.
And so that stuff was
What's
kind
a
of
Christian
pushed.
school or something?
Yeah.
Right.
And so that stuff was kind of pushed upon me. And I think like a life, I'm past it now, but a life of enormous guilt every time I masturbated was, probably, a big thing. And, this idea that I need to watch out for my thoughts because my thoughts will send me to fire and death and hell.
That's heavy for a kid. It's heavy.
But it was a fairly, and then, there was the cannibal part. There was now this piece of bread is actually the body of someone and now you're going to drink some blood. Like, that's a bit weird. And here's a massive life-size statue of a person who's being torturously murdered in the hot sun.
You went to a Catholic school then?
That's what I saw every day. But it was like, oh, yeah, there it is.
The story is fucking harrowing. It's fucking harrowing. Or whatever version. I haven't read the Catholic version. I know they have a bit of different. I went to the kind of Pentecostal version. Have, differing kind of details, but it's fucking grim shit. Someone's been crucified on its own. It's very death metal, very fucking, it's the tombs and people coming back to life and shit. Like, Easter's the most fucking death metal shit out. That, like, someone gets crucified and then they fucking get bunged in a tomb and then they just come out of the tomb. And there's like, depending on where you read it, sometimes there's a big rock in front of the tomb. I don't know how you got the rock open. But just come out, brand new. How you going? Never mind, a couple of days ago, I was on a fucking stick, with a crown of thorns, part of the story I've heard is that he was sucking vinegar off a sponge or something. Like, that's all they had to, I don't know, fuck, that's a lot to give to a kid. And there was a lot to give to a kid, and you're supposed to feel guilty about that because that happened for you. We did that for you. So, okay, fucking hell.
And every time you wank and it feels nice, you make that man feel sad.
Oh, and you're being watched, that's fucking, it's a bit off. Yeah.
I'm not, and it started to unravel. I guess I was about 11 when that stuff started to happen. When I was 11 and I was like, you know what? If I'm created in the image of this person and everything is designed by this supposed deity, then this thing that's happening naturally to my body, which feels really nice, that's got to be a part of that. So I don't know if I'm going to choose between eternal death and having a wank, I choose a wank. And that was it pretty much. I was 11.
It's weird. You're not supposed to be able to fucking process all that shit at that age. There's too much. There's too much going on. And who do you talk to about that? You go to someone at church.
We sat in a little booth. We sat in a little cupboard and whispered through a screen.
Fuck, that's all that guilt is so huge.
It was hectic, man.
What did you do wrong? Tell the person who's pretending they don't know who you are. It's like, fucking hell. No, thanks.
You smell his cigarette breath through the screen.
Oh, yeah, because that's good for you.
Yeah, it was bananas. I don't know what the Pentecostal stuff was like. Is it similar threats of, behavioral modification?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have the confessional stuff. That's in your own terms, I suppose. There's a lot of repentance. There's constant repentance. I'm definitely every day constantly asking for forgiveness. That happened for a long time, all the way up into my 20s, more or less. So I just always had that such a thing. Like, you can't speak to God unless you've cleansed yourself of, you said sorry about that. Sorry, I fuck up. Although you've got to, because you said the word fuck, you've now got to start again. But there's a lot of that. And so you're not worthy. You're not fucking worthy of this thing, but you don't understand what it is.
Yeah.
Like, certainly no child can grasp or should not have to grasp what the concept of, I think, even eternity, like, unless it's joy and happiness or safety, I don't think it's healthy to pump a kid full of what hell is, for example. That was the big one. Hell was really big for me as a kid. Like, it was described to me at a very young age that if you fuck up, and you don't get this right, and you don't turn up, and you're not. I went to church fucking several times a week, several times on Sunday, because my family is such an integral part of the show at Hillsong before it was called that. That I'd gone to church like sometimes, 4 times on the Sunday, and that's a lot of times. And then, but if you don't do that, if you don't turn up and fucking, say all the right things and pay attention and, don't skateboard or swear, then you are going to hell. And what hell is the eternal suffering and pain and fucking hell. Like, that concept alone is responsible for a huge part of my mental health anguish, is thinking that that's what's going to happen now. Because like you say, I'm not going to not swear and fucking skateboard and, fucking do things that a kid is just going to do, because it's okay to do that shit, But yeah, the Pentecostal church or whatever, I don't know what they call themselves now, but that stuff, it's very, Christian guilt is it's very, very heavy. It's a lot of guilt. Whether the story is true or not, there's a way to talk to someone about a story when they're a fucking child. You're not going to tell them that, like, this person fucking killed themselves, more or less, although if you do that, you go to hell. This person fucking, got sacrificed and bled to death. And that's your fault, It's your fucking fault. It's like, fucking what? It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, hey? Anyway, I just went on a fucking...
No, well, I had a bit of exposure to that church when we did Australian Idol. I think there was one point out of our top 12, I think 7 of them came out of there. And I get it. And I'd like to talk to you about this part next. But, I get it. Because if you're a singer and you're just a kid that likes to sing and you're quite good at it, sure, you could sing. But, the place I went to, like, what, you want to have 4,000 people stand on their feet and scream your name every week? Well, fuck. I know somewhere you can go. As long as you swap out the word baby for Jesus, here you are. And it was amazing. I remember going in there going, wow, this 16-year-old kid's getting a standing O. And of course she feels good because she's getting this, unbelievable response from the crowd.
It's a huge setup. Huge gig.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
So just one step back before we get to there, tell me about, like, with this idea of what you described as hell and what's going on there, when you see someone like our Prime Minister, like, I don't know anything about what that church does or what they preach. I only went there to hear a song and tell a kid she got through, and then
I don't fucking know anymore either. It's been ages, so I'm with you.
But when you think about that, this, our Prime Minister, his decision-making process is kind of based in this kind of moral compass that starts there. What do we need to know about that? What do we need to know about how you might think? You can't know what he's thinking, but is when you think about something like climate change, for example, is he like, it's fine because God won't let anything bad happen to us? Is it that kind of thing?
Is it? In what respect? What do you mean?
Like when we see, like, I just wonder how much of that, because the guys that I know, the people that I know that they love, and don't get me wrong, these churches are amazing for some people, and it's amazing because every week someone says, hey, no matter what, it's going to be fine. They go, great. And they go about their day. And it's fucking great. And they have a great time. And I wonder if that's a part of his decision-making process of like, we'll just keep selling coal because it's going to be fine.
Well, sure. I suppose that comfort in everything will be okay. And that's kind of the whole thing, right? Is that everyone wants to feel like everything's going to be all right. Whatever happens, you want it to be okay. And that's where the church and things like that invite, a chance to feel okay. And I fucking understand that. And I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm like, go do whatever you got to do. It's like telling me that I'm a fuckwit for not doing it. It's where I've got the problem. But yeah, I understand that. So you want to belong to something. You want to belong to something that feels safe and has a bit of longevity. And this isn't it. This life isn't it. There's more going on afterwards. So just behave yourself and we'll get there. But that in that structure of, seeing your world, just to ask quietly for forgiveness doesn't really suit something like climate change decisions, because it won't be okay, and it's proven that it won't fucking be okay. But yeah, you can't, I think, you can't take someone's personality out of their decision making, and if you are that heavily involved with the church, it's going to be part of who you are. It's a huge part of who you are. It's like you're finding that's that born again thing. You feel born again. You are a new person. Of course, it's going to be part of how you behave and you make your decisions. So I understand that would hugely influence people's decisions in places of power, although it being quite fucking concerning. But yeah, I imagine it has a lot to do with it.
There's a reason that we tried to separate church and state.
Yeah, well, it's two different gigs going on there.
Sure are.
We all behave on earth that way. All our experience dictates the decisions we make.
Yeah.
It depends. If there's a way for us all to positively get together and make things better for each other, I don't, telling someone they're, a fucking bad person because they're queer or, something that doesn't help anyone. If that's what you believe, it's a shame. But, these structures of, it's a shame and it's kind of dangerous headspace, but, everyone has a right to believe whatever the fuck they want. But when it starts to affect people's safety and well-being, it's a bit fucked. Then you've got to have the conversation about it. As a group, we've got to get together and sort it out, have a chat.
And that's a difficult conversation to have, which is probably why people avoid it.
Yeah, totally. Fucking totally. And like, if you're going to try and have those conversations, it's hard. It's hard to, a lot of people rely on media to tell them what the conversations are and things like that. And it's like, yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Was, as I mentioned, I couldn't believe the live setup when I saw it. I couldn't believe the quality of the gear. I was like, holy shit. Yeah. This is like this is top end broadcast. This is the same broadcast stuff that we use at work. Like, I could not believe how much the budget. Was that place where you started getting interested in music?
Yeah, definitely. Mum was a singer, and then was part of the choir thing. She conducted the choir and would sing the choir, and I don't know if they still have all that going on. I don't think Mum does that anymore, but they're like, yeah, and early days, Dad was a minister there. So we were like, that was when it was a lot smaller, but it was still fucking big. It was still big. It was still always a big show and stuff. But yeah, I love the music. My first guitar teacher was one of the guitarists from the church that played with the church band, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it's like age 8. So I was always into it. It was always a good escape tunes, even though I wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of it that I wanted to listen to, but that's all right.
Well, really, like, you came home with an Iron Maiden cassette and Dad was like, nope.
No, well, yeah, there were a couple of tricky things. There were, obviously music with swearing in it. There's none of that. But yeah, there's some lines in the sand there that weren't allowed. I wasn't allowed to listen to that stuff. But, I still had the radio, a little radio in my room. I'd listen to Triple J or whatever and just try and copy the songs, I had my favourite Green Day and Nirvana going on. And yeah, the best to fucking save my life, that shit, that fucking music is just incredible.
How so?
Well, I had something to do, like, that wasn't just fearing dying in a pit of fire. It was like music is escape. Like, I was so excited that what I could play on the guitar sounded something like what I was listening to on the radio, so you forgot about it for a minute. It's like jumping in the fucking ocean, You can't, switches you off. It makes you feel like a winner. It's like the cooking thing, It's like you feel there's success there, There's a little success in and trying. I am lucky enough to love my music that much that I just kept trying. Even though you're a kid and you're shit at it, I just kept trying, kept wanting to sound more like the radio, and so that stuff was. Yeah, I'd take my guitar to school, fucking punish everyone there with it. It was just a real nice space that was mine to go to as a young kid. Recording fucking songs off the radio on a tape, remember that shit?
Yeah. Without a doubt, mate.
Made my own radio shows.
You did.
Yeah. Fuck, I'd love to find those tapes.
What was your DJ name?
I think we called it the Funky Fart Show.
Yes.
I don't think that was I think a mate of mine, Lee, came up with that name. But yeah, we had the Funky Fart Show.
What was high school like for you? Were you you're saying you punished people at school with your guitar, playing, hope you've had the time of your life in the lunch break.
Yeah, lots of that.
Oh, mate, of course. Was high school something you were into? You were like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah, I fucking hated it. I fucking hated school. The whole thing is fucked. Yeah. Not a happy memory at all. My whole teenage years are fucked. It was the worst shit ever. Just the worst. Fucking not into it. School was fucked. I was shit at it too. I repeated a year of school and that was a bit of a waste of time, arguably. I repeated year 7 and I just zero interest in school. I started smoking drugs in high school too and just tried to, I was just in so much fucking pain as a kid. It was just so tormented and so fucking fucked and I hated it. I fucking hated school. I mean, I ended up with some friends at least around the year 7, year 8 mark, but I had no fucking mates as a young kid, like not really. And then by that time comes you're a fucking hormonal mess and just that made everything worse and, then you start smoking weed and fucking, it's just I'm just thankful I didn't hit the piss as a kid, just that. That whole thing was a fucking wreck. But I still played lots of music. I didn't stop doing that shit. That was, again, just saved my ass. Like, smoking weed and listening to music as a teenager, you think it's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you, So became very fascinated with that routine. But, high school can get fucked. I hated it.
It's not for everybody, and there's other ways to do it. The way it is right now, it's not for everyone. And
no.
If your kid's my heart goes out to you, man, hearing how much pain it must have been. But if that's your kid, fucking go let them do something else. Because the after effects of keeping them there is going to be, it's like holding their head underwater. It's like, let them fucking go do something, man. Not this.
Yeah, I suppose. But things have changed, like now, maybe that's, like I have a younger sister who's doing their HSC at the moment. I can see how different it is for her doing it. I mean, she's in it's a different time, she's a lot younger than me, but still hard. Yeah. She's quite talented and, quite good at school. But the home life was both great and fucking, like I was too fucked from my earlier years, too fucked to cope with anything, let alone school, which was just dishing me out, you suck, over and over and over again. It's like, you fucked this up and you fucked it up again. How about we repeat the whole year? You fucked it again. It wasn't like, there were some things I was okay at. Like I was okay at some of the music stuff and some of the creative shit, but like, it's like turning up to something that you're going to fuck up, like constantly. And there's people there that you think are fuckwits and they think you're a fuckwit, which is usually in a healthy situation, I wouldn't go to that place. This is full of fuckwits. I don't want to be there. Some of the people were amazing, but I wouldn't put myself, I'd set a healthy boundary around that shit. But when you're a parent, I can't speak to what it's like being a fucking parent, trying to do your best. Like I got put in a Steiner school because that seemed more appropriate than the grammar school I had a crack at before. So, we're trying to do shit, but like, fuck, I was a fucking nightmare as a teenager. So I don't know what anyone was supposed to do, but yeah, I did the same thing. I fucked off after year 10. I was like, nah, out of here, mate. Fuck that.
What did you go and do?
I went as a kind of gap filler. I went and studied music, but poorly. I just failed all that too. I just smoked cones and listened to fucking death metal. I didn't really do much, I just kind of turned up occasionally and fucking buggered it up pretty much.
Death metal's a pretty far, like, it's not something and certainly I'm guessing it was proto-internet. It's a little harder to find.
Yeah, it wasn't internet. No, it was Red
there's
Eye
a lot
Records.
of hanging out of Red Eye in Utopia.
That's right,
Two record. When I lived in Brisbane, occasionally as a teenager, I got come down to Sydney, and it was a pilgrimage to go to Utopia and just buy as much vinyl. You didn't have enough time, so you just judged the album covers and hope it was good.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
What I liked at Red Eye was they'd have little stickers that the staff had written on the front of the CD. So they're like, this is, give it a review. Yeah. I remember buying this CD that said, not for posers. And I'm like, that's for me, because I'm definitely not that. And I'm like, and it was, I found it really hard to listen to. I was like, right. I don't love this. I do now. But at the time I was like, this is tough. I'm kind of into it. I like that I'm not a poser, so I'm going to pretend. I'm going to pose that I'm not a poser. It was very...
What was it about death metal? Because some kids go into rap, some kids go into punk. Like, as far as you can get away from top 40 music is a way that, you can kind of define yourself. Some kids go and, like, they just dive into Frank Zappa, and then everyone goes, what the fuck's going on with you? Why death metal?
Well, it suited, and still does in some respects, suit me. I like the intensity of it, and I liked the way it expresses itself. It's quite technical, and it's fucking a lot of fun to play too. And it's a lot of fun. Part of that, me trying to imitate what I'm hearing, that's still... Metal is cool, and punk music's so cool in that respect that it's intense. It's intense, and that was where I was at. But with that said, I was listening to all of that shit. I love my hip hop, and I love listening to Indian ragas, and I was playing my sitar and shit. I was a weird kid. I wasn't like, I love my jazz and my Miles Davis and stuff. But at that point, the death metal was the thing I was going and buying heaps of, and I'd only play that. I get told to shut up at the uni I was at, like in the rehearsal rooms. I'd get people from 2 floors down coming up and being like, "Can you shut the fuck up? This is too loud." I was into it. I was just like, let's make as much noise and be the biggest punish I can, because it's what was going on in my head. Now I love it, but I don't listen to heaps of it anymore. I do. Yeah. I listen to it every day a bit, but it's much more mixed up than that. But at the time, that music suits a lot of young, distressed people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm really. It's quite visceral when you speak about the amount of agony and pain that you were in mentally. And was there ever a time where you're like, maybe getting away from all of this is the way? Was there a time where, because some people will go, the classic thing when I was younger was like, let's go to London, or people from the country that moved to Sydney, or people from Brisbane they go to Canada, or they just get the fuck out. Was there something like that?
I tried little bits of that shit, but like I was bad with money. If I ever had money, I just spent it on drugs, and like I tried to move. I did the move to Melbourne thing, and just for a minute, but I fucked that up pretty quick and had to come home. And I tried to do some harvest trail shit and go, they're kind of doing that farm work stuff, but no, it just was pretty dismal. I didn't have a great work ethic. I was too busy fucking being stoned, or just being just struggling. And then I got really fucking sick around that age too. I got tuberculosis, and then that fucked me for years. And that's where so that was like another huge dose of fucking eat shit from the universe.
Jesus, that's like something that kills people in Charles Dickens novels.
It's not my first airborne lung disease pandemic experience,
Oh, fuck.
I got quarantined and fucking all that shit, and like, that's why I'm extra scared about this shit at the moment. But
how old were you?
I was 19, 20.
Oh my God! What
I
a
think-
time in your life for that to happen.
Yeah, I was a teenager, and then that's when it started to fuck me up. I didn't know what was wrong with me for ages. I just kept wasting my body. Like I was quite pale, and I just started to get sicker and sicker and lose so much fucking weight. I ended up like 53 kilos or something in the end.
And you're taller than me.
Sorry?
Fucking hell, you're taller than me. Fuck, that's skinny.
It was way too thin, and yeah, by that time I was just vomiting all day, and like I couldn't work out what was going on. And it was for months, almost a year, before I worked out what was going on. I was too scared of the doctor. I'd turn up a doctor and you go to rando GPs, and they told me I had they kept telling me things like, oh, you've got Hep C and you've got all these things, and I was like, fuck, you know, and I'm stoned, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, already like at my limits.
Yeah.
And then it ended up getting like to the point where it's like you. Thankfully, I still see this doctor, but he's fucking he had the idea to check me for, you know, he's like, where have you travelled anywhere in the last while? And you know, we worked out I'd been to India, and I'm like, well, maybe we should check for TB. And yeah, and there you go. And I unfortunately made a bunch of my mates crook, and
oh no,
fucking pretty contagious. Yeah. Thankfully they didn't get crook, but you know, it's very, very fucking contagious. You know, it's like
tuberculosis loves bong water.
Loves bong water. Yeah, it does love bong water. I did get that sick that I was so fucked, and I had such bad chronic fatigue that the bong wasn't necessary anymore. I was just fucked. So for a few months there, I'd actually just stopped it because I was just so fucked. I was asleep. I couldn't stand on my skateboard. If I was sitting, I'd have to fall asleep on the table. Like really. Anyway, that was all very, very fucking traumatic and did shit to my brain. Like I couldn't. Obviously, when you got chronic fatigue, you can't fucking focus. And
does it affect your O2 levels? Does it affect your cognitive function? It would, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it has that. Like I'm sitting there drowning feeling. Like I'm out of breath. I can't, nothing will help. Like you can't breathe anymore. It's like you're being suffocated. Like you're having it's pretty trauma. I don't know about all that stuff. But yeah, it fucking does the number on you. And by the time they'd worked it out with me, by the time they'd worked out what the fuck it was, it had fucked me that bad. My lungs were fucked. And, but yeah, thanks to the 12 antibiotics, whatever it was a day, we sorted it out, but I fucking made things so much worse. I was already like at wit's end.
What was the mate? Because you strike me as like I get that you've been through some shit, and I think that's why when you speak or when you are on camera, you have a thing in your eye that says, "I have fucking seen it, and I'm here to tell you that." Joy is ours if we want to take it. So you know, I could tell that when I look at you, I can see that you've seen some shit. What was the thing that helped you turn a corner? I mean, it sounds like from when you were young, there was this never-ending, just fucking doom, imaginary doom, and then lived doom, and then inescapable, trapped in your body doom. And like, what the fuck? What was the turning point? Like, what was the moment where you saw the glimpse of light?
Well, fucking stopping taking drugs every weekend did help. The things that have helped me fucking sort my shit out have been, these videos are responsible for a great deal of improvement. Having a purpose to make something that's going to make people laugh has been a huge help. That and fucking swimming in the ocean has helped me a great deal. That helped me with heaps of shit. But the real thing that helps me is like just fucking hanging in there, like, and having great friends who forgive you and support you, and amazing partners. And you know, I've just been very lucky with friends and that have helped me. But the turning point has really been where I think I just got sick of it. I've got sick of, like, I put on a lot of weight, and I was fucking, you know, drinking heaps, and at this point where I was like, I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm I don't know. It's not I just think I got fucking sick of it. I'm going to die this way, or I'm going to die doing something else that's not about me. I felt very self-involved, just being so heady about everything that I just wanted to change it. So I started hitting the gym and started making these videos. Even while I was at work, I'm filming myself and documenting fucking all sorts of shit, trying to have a laugh wherever I can, and just keep pushing at what I'm creating here. Even if it's not getting any fucking views, which it didn't for a while, just keep making shit, keep fucking turning up, keep going at it, you know. And if it doesn't work out, fuck it, you know, I'll have another meltdown or something, I don't know. But at the moment, we're getting through it. And I mean, I'm moderately, I've got a success going on that I'm fucking fascinated by and feel massively guilty about. That I'm like, I don't get it. I kind of don't get it. I don't really get what's going on a little bit, but it's what I need and what I want to do this shit. That's a really complicated, convoluted non-answer for your question there.
That's okay. No, but I resonated with a lot of it as I'm in March I'll be 12 years sober, and I thought I was a special snowflake, but it turns out I just have the same fucking symptoms and the same behavioral patterns and the same thought patterns that every other fucker has. And there's a phrase, and you kind of paraphrase it a bit there. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And there's a point, you kind of have to get to a point when you're like, oh, I'm like this because I've chosen every time to do this. No one else shoved it down my throat. No one else told me to go to that place or hang out with that person. I chose to do it. Oh, if I make different choices, I'll get different outcomes. Fuck, it's on me.
But you have to be over it, right? You have to be like, you see where it goes, and you see the mates, or you see it happening, and you're fucking in your late 40s and you're still fucked, and like it's not a good look, and it's not like you see the people you know in the older generation, and like, well, you know, you've seen kind of try and learn from your own shit, and I mean, you have a choice within the window of what your mental health will allow, you know. If you feel like you have a gap there where you can make a bit of change, you can go for a walk. You can talk to someone today. You can go to the gym. You can maybe we'll have an AFN tonight. We'll have the alcohol-free night. Just take it. If you can do it, give it a fucking shot. And if it gives you something back, then you've fucking won. That's where, like, exercise is as boring as fuck as that is to hear, gives you a lot back, and it is miserable shit. You know, no one likes fucking running. You know, no one likes. I mean, I enjoy lifting weights and doing that shit. Blah blah blah. Who cares? But it gives me something back enough that makes me not want to go do the shit thing. You know, but I do understand that people aren't up for that shit too, and that it's tough to get there. I'm just lucky enough that I'd had enough. And same with you, you'd had enough. This is enough.
Well, I could also
do something else.
I could truly see where it was going. You're right. I could see. I'm lucky because there's, you know, I've talked about this a bit. I know of people who, you know, they came to sobriety because they woke up behind the wheel of a car with a cop in their passenger window going, "You've just fucking killed someone," and they were like, "I was at a bar." They don't remember that they got in a car and they've driven in a blackout and killed somebody.
Oh, mate!
But that happens. That happens all the time.
Yeah,
happens all. People do stuff in blackouts that they come out of it and go, "What?
Yeah,
what the fuck?"
That's so hardcore. It's so heavy. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's it. It either gets there. There's stages, and that's very extreme and but it's fucking real.
That's what's waiting. It's like you're on the fucking tram that has no stops. There's one. It's got a few stops, and then there's like a final one. Like, this is your chance, because from here on in, that's where it's going. Yeah. And sorry, mate.
Well, and some of the stops before it are pretty fucking annoying as well. You know, like, I'm not saying that's obviously a bit more than annoying. That's really intense and horrid. But like, you know, fucking, I don't know, the feeling like, oh, cool, I said a bunch of fucking stupid shit because you're in pain and you're a mess and you're scapegoat booze zone, you know, or whatever it is, and you're just fucking being an annoying fuckwit that needs to do some self-reflection grow a bit. You know, you can't
Yeah.
grow if you're fucking hammered all the time. It's really hard to get better and get high all at once. I'm not saying it's impossible, but as a general rule, it's not. It doesn't have a great fucking score on the board. That one.
I actually found out why is there's a thing that happens when you drink, and the more you drink over the longer amount of time, it happens earlier and earlier, is your hippocampus stops working. Your hippocampus is a thing that writes new memories. Right. So
it's hippocampus really in your brain, is it?
Yeah, it helps you write new memories. So that's why you're like, Jono's got his pants off on the pool table again. You know, because the last time it happened...
Didn't go well last time. He's done it again.
But... his hippocampus has stopped him understanding that, you got kicked out of the pub and you missed the good night. Yeah. That part doesn't get written into his code. So then he goes in again and goes, last time, he remembers the fun part. Last time I jumped off the pool table and took my pants off, it was heaps of fun. But he doesn't remember the consequence. That's why we keep doing the same shit.
Yeah, until the catastrophe happens and then you fell off and, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speared yourself on the pool cue, you know. That's it. You need a couple of fuck ups or something to knock it off a bit, but sometimes it's not enough. Fuck up is just. Hopefully, it ends before the catastrophe of the car acco or something horrible.
Oh my god! When you started, what drew you to start filming yourself? Why you just were trying to make? You just like, I'll make a video and I'll send it to some mates just to make them giggle.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I've always been. Like an attention-seeking fucking shithead. I've always, even there's a video of me in preschool somewhere, buried somewhere, where all the kids are, they're all lined up doing a song or a dance or something or other, and I'm just going fucking nuts, doing whatever I can to interrupt the whole thing and be seen more than everyone else. You know, there's videos of stuff like that. Anytime I saw a camera as a kid, run in front of it. I like any chance to do something at assembly or get people together to watch me do something. They are horrible, cringy memories that I find hard to remember, but it's the truth. I love that stuff. I love seeing people laugh. And it makes me feel okay. It makes me feel like I'm not the biggest useless piece of shit that I think that I am. When I see people laughing at me, I don't even care if it's at my expense sometimes. It's just like, I like seeing people laugh or enjoy my nonsense a bit, that it's a natural progression, I suppose. It's just wanted to, and now it's easier. Like it's become easier since your phone can fucking, the amount of shit that I've filmed on the phone, even up to these early cooking episodes, I stopped using a camera because my fucking iPhone, I probably shouldn't be plugging an iPhone, but your phone just kicks more ass than anything else. It's like, and I've got that on me. I could just we can piss off and go and make whatever wherever. And so, I had these ideas of trying to put myself in situations that I always talk shit about stuff. I'm never, I watch the telly, whatever it is, I'm always hanging shit on stuff because I find normalcy really weird and ridiculous. So I'm like, well, why don't we kind of do that? Why don't we just wander around to shows where I know I'm going to be mind-numbingly fucking pissed off and bored and take the phone, It made sense. It just made more and more sense. And my wonderful friends give me amazing reviews about it. And I would just post it on my medias and show my mates. They'd love it. Like, make more of them, So I just kept doing that. It's a long flog, though. It's a fucking long flog of making a lot of shit. Fucking shit. Push through it, though. Fuck yeah.
Well, every time you get those tiny, it's like learning anything though, Nat. It's like every time you make something, you get a little better at editing. You cut just a little bit better so the gag gets a little harder. Next time I need to get the thing I'm joking about just a little more in frame or a little less in frame. It's all a learning curve. Everything's that's how we learn. That's how we get better. The idea that you're instantly great at something is bullshit. That happens in fairy stories.
And it's not realistic to expect that either. It's like you can't. It's boring as it sounds. The hard work does, and the analysis. If you're a creative person, wanting to do better is a good headspace to be in.
Yeah.
Because what creating is, you're creating more and more. If you just sit pretty in what you're doing too much, you'll end up doing the same thing. Like it's the same. We've already seen that. You know, it says me who makes cooking shows repeatedly, but yeah.
Do you take that approach to your mental health or your physical health?
Definitely. Like I made a video last year hanging shit on people running. Like, because it's not, what are you running from kind of thing, it's a joke, it's obviously a fucking joke. I did, is it shit of running? And now I won't let myself good, that little ding there. Now I won't let myself off unless I've gone for a run today. Like, just because I want to get better. I want to get fucking better in my head, and I want to be in charge of that shit. I want to be I'm even trying to lose weight and fucking get fitter and get healthier, and that's a cool goal where I'm at the moment for me, because I'm kicking that fucking goal. But when it comes to mental health, that has been the biggest part of it, is because I'm in charge of that shit. But I'm still a fucking mess. Like, I'm still fucked. But that stops for those minutes and a few hours around it. I feel all right. I feel fucking okay. Running's weird like that too. And I know you ride bikes and stuff, and that cardio shit.
I used to run before I have a fake hip now. I used to run 10Ks every day. That's just what I did. I got up in the morning, had a cup of coffee, took a shit, put my shoes on, and just ran. Took my house key, so a key, and ran. And
that's what I'm
it
doing.
was amazing. It did me like all the way till the morning, all the way till maybe 1 o'clock in the day. My head would just be. It'd be amazing.
Fucking hell, yeah.
I miss it so much.
Yeah, you can get a bit obsessive about stuff like that. So I'm trying to watch that at the moment too. Yeah. And I talk to Jules about that, and she gets a bit worried at times that I get a bit obsessive. That's an addictive part of me too. Like, at least
there's worse things to be addicted to, mate. And
there's worse things, but I do go fucking ham on it a bit.
Yeah, but you're trying to find a source of dopamine release that's within your control, and that's okay to have that internal. Because I'm guessing, for so long, such things sounds like that was so out of control for you, and you were just getting kicked around like a fucking grocery bag on a freeway for so long.
Yeah.
To have that internal control of, I know that I can feel better in my head if I go and do this.
Yeah.
Must be amazing.
It's quite very empowering to feel like you're in charge of something when you for the most part, have not been. Yeah, it's good. We'll see how long it lasts. It's lasted for 3-4 years now, so I'm hoping that.
The more momentum that builds up behind it, the easier it is to keep going. In my experience, and then I talked about this with Matthew Mitchum, the Olympic diver. I wanted to talk to him about mastery, and I wanted to talk to him about athleticism and what it was to win a gold medal in diving. We ended up talking about sobriety, and it was one of the greater conversations I've had publicly about sobriety. Because he hit me with this amazing line. He goes, "Yeah, you end up building up a life in sobriety that you are unwilling to risk, and soon the idea of it's just our beer." Just our beer. It's like, yeah, but I know what that leads to. I know what happens. If I start like that, I know where it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a month, but within a year, it will all be gone. And it gets easier to keep that momentum up. And so 3 or 4 years is pretty fucking amazing to be on that path. We spoke before we started rolling. I'm still on a journey to be like, I'm not quite there. There's still something happening. Let's see how good we can make this. Let's see how, I'm noticing that things I'm still causing pain to others, or I'm still not fulfilling my potential, or I'm still missing things. How can I get better at this? Yeah. And as far as a thing to obsess about every day, I know it's self-centered, but it makes me less of a fuckhead to be around.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. Like, if it's bettering you, and it's better for your universe and the people around you, and most of all you, why wouldn't you? There's your happiness, and you got to go for your happiness. If it's making you happy, fuck, keep doing that.
When you met Jules, were you fairly open about what you'd been through and what was going on?
Yeah, totally. I fucking prattle on about myself constantly. Yeah, I'm very upfront about that stuff. And, in fact, it was like a concern, I was like, I'm concerned that I'm a bit fucked, took it pretty easy for a while with Jules and was just like, I'm just saying, I'm not like a well person, but she's so beautiful and so kind and open for that and is patient and still fucking really is and made it through me being a fucking nightmare. She's amazing. But very upfront about that. I'm not ashamed of it. Like I can't. I suffer shame like everyone does, and maybe I've got more than others or something. But the mental health thing's so prevalent. It's such a struggle that it's a waste of my time to pretend that I'm fine. It's not doing me or anyone around me any favours. It certainly doesn't do anxiety any favours to pretend that you're fine. Like, I'm too anxious for this shit. I'm going to go, like, it's okay. It's actually better to just say something than not a lot of the time. At least for me, I'm not. Yeah, so I've been good at talking about it, I think.
When you're having a rough day, how do you communicate that to her, and what are some things that she does that makes it a less rough day?
Jules tells me that everything will be all right. It's like to just put her hand on my back and tell me that everything's okay, She's good. She's a generally pretty okay person who's, I'm so grateful, has the space to manage my constant. There's a point at pretty much every day where I need that. I need someone to tell me it's all right. I'll have a panic attack today. I know I will, and it's just going to happen. Like I'll end up, my heart will start smashing out of my fucking chest, whether it's at bedtime or when I wake up or fucking halfway during this. I don't know. I can't pick it at the moment, but Jules is there. She can see it and she can fucking spot it going on. It just, at the moment it happens quite a lot. I'm going through quite a lot of that anxious attack shit, but she'll see it and she'll come and rub my back. I've got to respond well to the back rub. It seems to calm me down a bit.
Yeah.
Something my dad used to do to me when I was a kid. It seemed to, well, that's huge. I don't need to, she knows if we need to talk about it or not to, so, and I'll try and say something. I do need a prod every now and then, but yeah, she's amazing.
Every day.
At the moment, it's fucking, that's what's inspired the running the last couple of months because I can't stop the anxiety. There's a lot going on and this time of year fucking scares the shit out of me. And I'm trying to hang on to this career a bit too. I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up and I'm careful about what I say. I don't want to fucking, my privacy is quite important to me. I don't want to fucking, there's a lot of people want to touch me and want to, spot me and see me and stuff like that. And I'm scared of that. Yeah. I'm scared of people touching me at the moment because I'm, even my friends, I'm just a bit, because of that lung stuff and being sick before. And so there's a lot to be anxious about, but I'm doing shit about it, I'm gradually getting better. Running's been awesome because I am getting better at it. Like I got one of those apps and I'm just skipping through levels. I'm like, fucking, I can smash this shit. That's been awesome. So it's been getting less. It has been getting less, which is what's important. I'm fucking smashing it.
It is so important because you wake up every day. I certainly, when I'm going through it, I write a 1 to 5 level of where my anxiety is, and I know that if I get above, and it comes in peaks and troughs, and I know that if I get above 3 for more than 3 days in a row, I'm off to see my psychiatrist.
Yeah,
because I know that if by the time I get to 5, I'll be fucked.
You're fucked, yeah.
So I know now to take note of it every day.
Yeah.
And just because that helps me notice going, it's bad today, but it's gone in waves. I know it'll be better by Saturday. It won't be like this.
Yeah, you can see it coming a bit. You're like, you got a couple of tools in the shed there. Quick, fucking pull those out.
Super important, man.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear that. It's nice to hear you do that stuff. You got your limit, and you got to fucking. That's what my therapist does with me too. It's like, like there's some things that make me so fucking anxious that I don't. A lot of them are social, these days. I'm like, I've got a lot of social anxiety and generalised anxiety. So it's like, there are situations I wouldn't put myself in. Like, I'll think someone doesn't like me. Who cares really in the greater scheme of things? But, it might be a local shop or something that I have to go to get a thing or something. And I walked in there one time and they looked at me like they didn't like me. And I now don't want to go back in there. I just won't. My therapist is like, well, on the score of 1 to fucking 10, how anxious does that make you? Or getting in a lift with someone, I haven't liked doing that, getting in small lifts with them, particularly if someone doesn't have a mask on or something, I get the heebie-jeebies. He's like, well, pick the level and act accordingly. We need to fucking, don't hide from it. But when you hit this level, that's no, and that's like what you're saying. If you don't get to fucking 5, I'm not going. I got a 10 going on. I got a 10 score. Yeah. But if it's above like a 6 or 7, we'll fucking let's deal with the things below it first.
Yeah.
And then maybe those will drop with it.
Well, that's the thing they do over time. It sucks. Yeah, it sounds like it's a kind of a version of exposure therapy. But it's like anything. It's like going to the gym. Like like your running app. The more you do it, the more your body adapts. The more your thinking adapts, the easier it becomes. But it's uncomfortable. Like you'll know this from going to the gym. Like if you want to put muscle on, you got to challenge your body, and it hurts. It hurts. It's hard, and it hurts a lot when you're trying to pull a deadlift that's really fucking heavy. But your body then responds. You only have to be willing to be with that hurt for 8 seconds, depending on But you've got to be willing to do that.
Got to push it. Yeah.
But with our body, it's a little easier. But certainly with our head, I know what it was like. You're a very visible person, and I can absolutely relate to that. When I was on Idle back in the day, I'd have people running up to me in the grocery store, grabbing my hair, trying to pull it off, thinking it was a wig.
Oh, for fuck's
sake. Just trying to buy my fucking Wheat Bix,
Fuck off, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It was terrifying. People would come and tackle me, I didn't know what the fuck. I thought I was being mugged.
Yeah, I fucking had some of that shit. It's horrible. Pulling at your hair, though, like fucking...
Yeah, I know.
It'd take a lot not to turn around and fucking pull their hair, wouldn't it?
Well, I was so... my answer was not leave the house, Nat.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
For days at a time. Turns out not the right move, because it just got worse. The more I ran from it, the worse it got.
Yeah.
But that's another story. When it comes to, obviously you're very interested in caring for yourself. Like you talk about the running and the swimming and nutrition is a big part of this. Yeah. What stories do you hear? Like your cooking videos are hilarious, all right? But cooking is one of those things we all have to eat, all right? Cooking is one of those things where you can show yourself self-love and show people around you love in a way that you cannot do with words or physical actions.
Yeah.
What have you heard? What kind of feedback have you gotten from people around, the emotional connections with their own bodies or with the people around them through the cooking work you've been doing?
Particularly with the younger people, it's been huge. They're like, there's kids out there that are like, not even 12 years old, out there cooking dinner for their families. Like, that's fucking crazy. It's just wild. Like, I don't think it's crazy. I think sorry, I probably shouldn't even use that word, but I think it's wild to hear that. There's people that have said, I haven't made anything, I've never cooked in my life. And that, that made me laugh so much I gave it a crack. And I can't believe it. I've made it every night this week, My partner's getting sick of me making lasagnas. But it's so fucking awesome. There's been lots of really beautiful people sending some really beautiful stuff, and showing us, like sending, I love seeing people's pictures of the stuff they've made and they're like, this, fucking check this out. And I put my thing in it, it turns out I like putting a bit more of this in it or whatever it is. Fuck yes. Yes. it's awesome. It's so awesome to see that shit. And that's been such a wonderful side effect of these cooking videos. It's people that have had such a good laugh that they've had that jar of whatever the fucking horrifying shit is, and been like, you know what, fuck it, I'll give this actual crack, because a lot of the dishes I'm making are pretty simple. You know, I'm not doing the fancy French chef stuff too much, so they're fucking nailing it. There's people out there that are having these incredible wins. It's just so fucking cool. It's just so fucking cool.
There's just something wonderful. I mean, food is love that you can appreciate with your mouth.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it. And it doesn't ask anything of you. I mean, it asks something of you if you've got to muscle down that jar of bechamel. But I mean, a meal that you've lovingly cooked for someone, you've given people. That's why I love the roast dinner. I love that shit. You know, just here. You know, I don't need anything from you. Just have whatever you like. Eat something. We'll sit down and we'll shoot the shit. We'll have a time, you know, or not. You just, sometimes the silence of the table eating your food is really nice. My dad says that. So it's a nice thing. No one's saying anything. Must be good. It's true. It doesn't ask much of you eating and doing that stuff. It's a nice way to say I love you in other words, you know, in another way.
Do people get worried when they ask you around for dinner? Do they get worried they're cooking for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't happen a great deal these days. So it's been a problem for years for me. I often won't let people, I don't give them the chance, you know. I'm in there cooking. What do you want to do? I've lived in a lot of share houses and I'm on the blower, like, you know, texting people. I'm thinking of making this, and this, and this. Who'd eat this? I'm going to do this. No, I don't give people a chance half the time, but I love it. I love being invited over for dinner. Love it. But, yeah, I mean, it's also not been particularly possible the last while, but...
Well, mate, you and Jules are more than welcome any time to come over and enjoy one of... my wife's Fijian, and so there's this incredible mix of Indian and Chinese and traditional cuisine that makes up Fiji.
Mate, you are on.
Dude, like, she can make a curry with one eye closed while, you know, like, amazing. You got to come around. And she rolls the roti. Have you ever done roti on your show?
No.
Oh, man. No. You got to get Audrey on his show, dude. She can, can cook. You want some Islander food, man? She's all about it.
Oh, I'd love to learn that stuff. That sounds fucking awesome.
Have you ever had fried tapioca?
Fried tapioca? No, I don't think so. There you go. What's out,
mate? If you want to talk about a carb, you want to talk about carbs like pasta, rice. Fuck off. Yeah. You want that South Pacific tapioca or taro? I think it's the same thing. Cassava, fried cassava. Holy shit! It's got a bajillion grams of carbohydrates in it, and you eat it, and you're just like no wonder, you know, the South Pacific rugby teams are so massive because the caloric intake, makes big people.
The carbs, I love the carbs. Bring them on.
The carbs. Mate, I don't eat meat. All I've got is carbs. Yeah, and now that I'm celiac, like I'm stuck. So for carbs, that's what it is. It's amazing, dude. So lovely to meet Jules, because I know how much she means to you, and I can see the kindness in her eyes. The moment she met me, I was like, oh, right, of course. Yes. And it reminded me a lot of the relationship I have with Audrey, just hearing you talk about her, because that's definitely what Audrey does for me and did for me when I was at my worst. Yeah, and I'm grateful that you two found each other beyond measure.
Yeah, it seems like you got a really sweet thing going on there too, man. That's... What a wonderful thing it is to have people that care about you and love you that much, hey? Like, and have the space to deal with your lot of stress and anguish.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not a fucking Mills and Boon novel. Like, there's still the ups and downs of being in a relationship, because that's what being in a relationship is. It's not all balcony sex and champagne and strawberries. It's, you know, why the fucking bin's taking
It's hard work sometimes, sure. Yeah, but like all good things, take a bit of work and a bit of self-analysis and a bit of forgiveness and a bit of love. There's a lot of there's work. There's work you got to do to look after a good thing. So yeah, I get it.
It's worth it, dude.
Fucking oath, it's worth it.
I could talk to you all day, Nat. Congrats on everything and whatever you need, mate.
Much.
I'm at your service, mate.
You're a fucking legend. Thanks, Osh.